Hello, beautiful people, ladies and gentlemen. So, today we are going to be recording a podcast. And the topic is going to be all about navigating the spiritual realm in the age of Aquarius, what I see happening in the coming years, and yeah, we're just gonna go into it. Let me see. So I did record a thing last time.
Hi, beautiful light being. How'd you get here?
Okay, yeah, we're gonna record a different one because I don't like that one. Too excited. That's not the vibe that I'm in right now. Can't be in that vibe. Hello and welcome to the Magical Match Show. This is the podcast where we're talking about spirituality, New Age controversy, diving into the shadow realms and discussing all things metaphysical and how you can anchor your metaphysical knowledge into the physical. I'm your host, Maddie, and welcome to this month's episode. Beautiful, beautiful, stunning. What is playing right now? Like, shut the fuck up. I'm just like not having it, right? I'm having a time in my personal life right now. But you know, all for the benefit of all. Okay. Okay guys, so welcome to this month's episode. In this episode, I wanted to touch on first of all, I wanted to welcome us to the age of Aquarius. This is such an expansive time to be alive. Like, there's so much potential, there's so much truth being shown to us. The veil is lifted, the fog is coming out of the collective, and we are stepping into an era of clarity. And with this era of clarity, we're going to see a lot of changes, not only in our physical, so like the financial system, the way that we do work, our communities, not only in that sense, but in the way that we approach life. We are going to be shifting into a more spiritual dimension. And so what this is going to do for us as a collective is it's going to bring more acceptance. But with that acceptance also comes transparency, right? So there's going to be a lot of things coming to the surface. There's going to be a lot of scandals. There's going to be a lot of things that were kept in the dark for a long time coming to the light, because Aquarius is I consider it like the water bearer of the air, right? So it's like the ether, the plasma, all of the molecules that are right attached to your face and engulfing your body in any given moment. That is the energy of Aquarius. And so Aquarius sees through all the cracks. Aquarius is able to discern and identify and bring new light to situations and see different ways of going about things that may be more beneficial to the whole. Because ether, okay, so if you don't know, ether is or plasma is the sixth phase of water. And this is water that is not a solid, it is not a liquid, it is not a gas, it just is. It's energy, right? So this is the non-physical, and because we're becoming more aware in this age of Aquarius, the non-physical is going to become more prevalent in our lives. So the physical world is going to have less of a say in the way that we present ourselves. We're not going to be conforming to societal standards. We're going to be stepping away from certain dynamics and systems because they no longer serve the collective, nor do they serve the whole. And I'm going to go into this a little bit. I just want to make sure that you can hear my voice.
Hello and
Because last time I recorded a podcast, there was like a whole clip where you literally just could not hear my voice, and it was like a good 10 minutes. So, want to make sure that we can hear me. I want to make sure that we can hear me. So, in this age of Aquarius, what I see happening is I see the fall of a lot of systems, including the prison system, including the current debt system. I no longer see us relying on the dollar, obviously. And we're seeing this in the judicial system right now. So like there's a lot of things going on with fraud. There's a lot of people being caught for money laundering. There's a lot of people that are being caught for these financial things, right? And what I want to hit home so especially in this episode is your ability to discern your future. Because you 100% have a say in the reality that you play in. Even if you are in the shittiest of situations, Source can bring you out of that. And that's really what this age of Aquarius is bringing to us. It's bringing us this sense of safety and stability that comes from the non-physical, that is not physically rooted. And so it can actually go in and completely manipulate these physical systems. Not out of malintent, but for the highest good of all. Because a lot of these systems were created to indoctrinate us, to keep us small, to have us feeling like we are the problem, when in reality, what has actually been going on for the last century and probably many centuries, I would even argue over a span of thousands of years, is we have been spiritually attacked in a sense. We consented, so I don't want to make it seem like, oh my gosh, we've been attacked. No, it's not like that. It's like we consented to this for our evolution and our growth. But what was going on Earth for the longest time was all these energies were coming here and communing here, and because they were not able to stand firmly in their power, they were swayed by the community around them. And because of that, it created these systems that we felt like we had to rely on in order to keep ourselves safe, because we actually didn't feel safe within ourselves to show up in our God essence like we are meant to. And what happened is when we went through the certain area in space, we picked up on some residue from a past happening, which was we created, it was a galaxy war. We picked up on that residue once again, and so we had to filter through all of those chaotic times and come to a new understanding and use that subconsciously to build these new societies, to create this new way of living that is energetically based. We're coming back into our own nature. We're coming back in to our true divinity, which is our ability to show up and be God. And that may sound insane to some people. That may sound like I'm preaching the devil's work. But what I want you to know is that Christianity was created in the age of Pisces because of its ability to manipulate emotions, to manipulate the water. And Pisces is one of the weakest signs in terms of emotions, not because they are not good with their emotions, but because they have so many of them, it's hard for them to be physically rooted. So they capitalized on the fact that we were so much in our heads, and they made all this noise up here that created this brain fog energy. And so what the age of Aquarius is bringing is this newfound sense of clarity. The water in the air is being purified. And it's being done because there have been a collective of us that came here intentionally to do this work. So I want to preface the rest of this episode by saying that I am not an angel. Although I do get a lot of the things I desire. Things always work out for me. In my past though, I was not an angel. I did some really fucked up things. I've been really fucked up people. I have surrounded myself around really fucked up people. I've intentionally abused myself, right? And I've made the world around me miserable as a result of that. And I've done some illegal things. Things I could go to jail for. But the difference between me and someone sitting in jail right now is that I wholeheartedly believe that I am not the same person. My name may be the same. My social security may be the same. My birthday may be the same. But in my heart, I am not the same person. I am a completely different being on a cellular level. Therefore, my energy shows up differently. And the thing about Aquarius is that it does not need words to communicate. Everything is telepathic. Everything is information. The way that you look at something, the way that you perceive something, the way something feels, the energy you get when you walk into a room, that is communication. That is data. And your subconscious mind takes that in. And for so long, we were so unaware of that. And that's why it was so easy for them to manipulate us through mass media, because of our inability to connect with our subconscious mind. Again, because we were up here in the age of Pisces, all up in our heads. And now we're softening into the energy body, which is the emotional body, which is the physical body, which means our DNA is coming online. Our God DNA is coming online. And what I mean when I say God DNA is your ability to be the creator here and now in every single fucking moment. You get to change your mind in every single moment. You get to change who you are in every single moment. You get to start showing up differently in every single moment. And when you start to show up in those ways, when you start to show up differently, when you start to embody this new clarity, you're walking in alignment with your purpose. And when I tell you that no one can fucking touch you, nobody can fucking touch you. And that is how the elites have gotten away with this for so fucking long. They did it by manipulating, by making the court systems all in their favor and all the things. But they also knew the laws of energy. And they knew that if there was no emotional residue, if there was no guilt, if there was no fear, if there was no shame, if they fully believed in what they were capable of, if they fully believed in the story that they were telling themselves, that they are good people, that they are helping humanity, nothing would stop them. And that is the power of your mind. That is the power of energetics. When you set an intention, nothing can stop that intention except for you. You are the creator, and what I really want to get across is that in every single given moment, you get to create a new story. You get to tell it a different way. You get to set the narrative. You get to decide what fucking happens. I don't give a fuck how much karma. I don't give a fuck how much momentum is going in the other direction. If you consciously decide and you're firm enough in that pivot, nothing can stop that other reality that you actually desire from coming about. Because a lot of times, the reason that we're even in the positions where we do shitty things, where we are shitty people, is because we're not even embodying our authentic energy. We're embodying energy that we're told to embody, that we're manipulated to embody, that we're made to believe is normal. Hurting people is not normal. Locking people up is not normal. I don't care what they did. You want to see change, you have conversations with people. You hold space for people. You move through emotions with people. Locking someone up in a cage is torture, is abuse. And the human collective is sick of this psychological abuse that has been sweeping our realities for as long as we can remember. It's time to take our power back. It's time to own our energy, to know who we really are. We're not just some random people floating on a fucking rock. Are you kidding me? We came here with so much intention. We left another galaxy because there were space wars and everything fell apart. Why? Because we were trying to control everything. We were trying to make ourselves perfect. And what did that cause? It caused the underdogs to rise up. And so what are we going to do now? The underdogs are going to rise up. Because we are sick of the manipulation. We are sick of people telling us how to feel, how to think. If people were given the benefit of the doubt, and I have seen this work in my own life, so I know that this is true. If people are given the benefit of the doubt, if people are held space for in a way that is expansive, they end up showing up in the best possible way for the collective. But when you tell people that they're bad, when you tell people that life sucks, when you tell people that they're trapped in a cage, when you put people in boxes, that's what makes them want to rebel. That's what makes them want to conform. We cannot continue to set our people up for failure. This is a new era. And in this era, every single human is just. Even the people that manipulated us in the past. We have compassion for them too, because we know that they're not tapped in to their own energy, and that's why they're outsourcing to lower frequencies in the first place. When I tell you that the story that you tell yourself is your reality, the narratives that you hold in your mind, if you fear things, notice those thoughts, notice those things, and see how they manifest in your reality, because they will. And if you really want to create change in your life, start to pivot once those thoughts come up. Begin to show yourself that there is an alternate solution, that there is another way of going about this. There is another perspective that you can look through. And when you look through the eyes of Source, everything is working out, even in the shittiest of scenarios. How do I know? Because I spent weeks outside of my body. And that entire time, the only thing that kept me going was the story in my head that everything is working out for me. And guess what? That story, that time of my life, was one of the most pivotal, transformational times I've ever experienced. But so many people would consider that experience bad, or make me a bad person for one action. Or make me out to be some sort of evil person because I chose what to do. I chose to follow my heart instead of what everyone else would have thought was right. When you stop looking to the outside world for acknowledgement, for acceptance, and you start to self-source that from within, and you start to tell the stories of, I am successful, I am doing what I'm meant to do, even when you're in some really shitty situations, even when you are the bad guy, if you can hold the narrative that you are doing what you're meant to do, that everything is working out, that the best case scenario is on the way, nothing can stop that from happening for you. I don't care what you did. I don't care who you are. I don't care what your story is. If you can embody a new energy right now, that will become your truth, and that will become your story. Water is fluid, and we've been taught to dam it up, to keep all the emotions inside, to suppress the fear, to suppress the anger. But if you walked into those emotions with full acceptance, if you walked into the fear with full acceptance of whatever you experience, you would live such a more fulfilling life, because you're no longer looking over your shoulder trying to protect yourself. You're trusting that you're inherently protected, and that level of freedom hits different. I want you to imagine that you are fully provided for. What if your parents weren't the one to provide for you? What if you weren't even the one to provide for you? What if there was some unknown force, some mystery force out there that could just give you anything you wanted in any single moment? How would you live life then? Where would you operate from then? you probably wouldn't even end up in shitty situations or scenarios because you would trust that you're inherently provided for. And you wouldn't go seeking out the pain because that's not your normal. When you're normal, when your standards are at a level of self-love that equates to safety and stability, you don't go looking for problems. But when your normal is problems, which is what we've been spoon-fed our entire lives, problem after problem after problem after problem. If that's your reality, if that's your normal, you're going to consistently seek out problems. Why? Because the brain likes to stay consistent. Consistency is compounding. Energy is currency. Your energy is what compounds. Money has nothing to do with it. And to seek out money, to think that it's going to solve those problems, is you creating another problem. Is you creating another thing for yourself to fear, another thing for yourself to worry about, because you're so consistent in that fear and in that worry. But if you can break down that fear and if you can break down that worry and you can choose to go in a different direction, which I know you can, it's just about your willingness to do so, you can actually rewrite your entire reality. You can live an entirely different life. But you have to be willing to sit there with the emotions that made you attached to that narrative in the first place. And a lot of that doesn't come from this life. A lot of that is past residue. A lot of that does come from past lives. And you have to be willing to be blatantly honest with yourself and call yourself the fuck out. We live in a multidimensional experience. You are not one person all the time. You are the child, you are the mother, you are the father, you are the son. You are the brother, you are the sister. In any given moment, you are the one that you are being. You are everything and you are nothing. You are just energy. And if you can detach from the ego, if you can detach from the stories, if you can detach from the ego to a point where you no longer need those stories to keep you alive, to keep you going, that's when you're going to create a new life. That's when you're going to move mountains. That's when you're going to go in a new direction. And that is when the whole world is going to shift for you. And as a result, everyone around you is impacted. Your energy does not go unnoticed. The biggest trick is them telling us or making us think that our energy isn't powerful. Our energy is the most powerful thing in the world. Their energy is weak. And when you use their energy, manipulation, fear, greed, that's when you make yourself weak. When you use higher level vibrations like love, acceptance, compassion, that's when you make yourself strong. And strength is not built overnight. It's something that you cultivate. It's something that you commit yourself to. Because you know you're worthy of living a life that feels that good. Because you know you didn't come here to experience pain and turmoil for nothing. And I also want to say that those moments of pain, those moments of turmoil, those are often the catalyst to the most expansive lives. which is why I don't agree with imprisoning people for something they did in one moment for long periods of time, because you are not the same in any single moment. You're consistently changing. So the person that they put in jail, that's not the same person that comes out. The person that sits in jail is not the same person that they put in jail. And to confine us to an identity, to an ego like that is so fucking limiting. And that is why I see all of these structures falling. I see the money system falling because it was used for manipulation and greed. It was used to set us up. It's already falling. The dollar has no value. Everything is going to go into crypto because crypto is energy. Crypto is quantum. We're moving into a quantum reality. We have already shifted by way of being in the age of Aquarius. Quantum is in the air. Quantum is energy. Quanta is plasma. Quanta is ether. This is the living life force of our planet, and she's coming back online. We are never alone, ever. But sometimes these periods where we experience these lower frequencies and these down times are so pivotal for the long term. But when you're thinking in terms of the short term, when you're thinking in terms of right now, without realizing the impact that right now has on forever, you're doing yourself a disservice because you're not understanding the language of energy and the way that it compounds. Your life is not defined by one moment. Things can shift at any given time. I want you to play with this idea, to indulge in what it would be like if things were exactly how you wanted them to be. How can you get there? How can you give yourself that feeling now in your body? How can you get there? What actions do you need to embody? What things do you need to do? What steps do you need to take? What energy must you let go of? What energies do you need to start cultivating more of? Currency is not a physical thing. It's energetic, and it starts in your body. It starts in the sacral centers. And over 53% of the of the world population, utilizes their sacral energy to make decisions. So when you're told your decisions, when you're made to do things, and you're supposed to be operating from a sacral authority, you know what that does to your sacral energy? It shuts it down. It tells it, no, your voice isn't valid. I don't want to hear you. So it suppresses itself. It's not that the voice goes away. It's not that the authority goes away. You just start to ignore it. And that's what I've seen happen with these systems in the Piscean age. They ignore the intuition of the body and prioritize the mind. And while the mind is such a great tool that can be refined and cultivated over time, the body is the portal to the mind. If you don't understand the body, you will never understand the great mind. And I'm not just talking about your brain here, okay? it takes letting go of these archaic systems of putting ourselves in boxes to actually expand into the nuance that is unfolding in this new age. And that's why we see a lot of things with New Age spirituality falling apart right now, because it was built on the Piscean idea of the mind. And so it's trying to utilize all these routines and very masculine structures in order to implement this new way of being, this new way of living, when really what New Age spirituality is really hinting at is the embracing of the divine feminine, the allowance of the emotional volatility, the allowance of mistakes, the nature of duality, which means sometimes you go really fucking low. And sometimes you do really shitty shit. Does that mean you can't come out of it? Absolutely fucking not. And I'm a living testimony to that. Getting really passionate. I didn't know I had this much to say. I knew I had this much to say, but I didn't know I had this much to say, you know? Okay. So what I see happening in the next 5 years is, and we've already seen it happening since 2020, is the falling of these structures. And we're going to start to see it more so in 2023 and 2024 into 2026 in the realm of spirituality. We're going to see the structures begin to fall because we're no longer going off the basis of religion. We're stepping into a new multidimensional, quantum, infinite portal where there is no right and there is no wrong, there just is. We're stepping out of the mind and we're coming back into the body. We're uniting the ether, the mind, and the body to create synergy, to create Holy Trinity. And the systems that we once relied on are no longer going to be relevant because we're going to have our own internal guidance systems to rely on. Because that is the power of the body. The body has its own systems. We don't need to create them with the mind. We need to understand them. And yes, we can change them because the body is fluid like water. You are water. You are fluid. You can change in any single given moment. But you have to be willing to let go of those structures and follow your heart instead. Follow the body. Follow the intuition of the womb. The portal of creation that lies within all of us, yes, even men. You are so much powerful. You are so much more powerful than you are led to believe. Your internal systems can create worlds outside of you. You are so powerful. And the power is being given back to the people, which is why I see these systems falling, which is why I see more collaboration, which is why I see community building. Which is why I see new ways of living emerging. There's no race. There's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to be. There's nothing we can do to be better. We can't perfect ourselves more. What if we just took some time to actually embrace and bask in the mystery and the nuances of life? What power would come from that? What power would come from following your heart? I'll tell you. It's a level of power that they don't want you to have. But it's a level of power that you are fully capable of receiving. I want to take a moment to touch on discernment and discipline in this new era. So, in the age of Pisces, we were very much focused on the discipline aspect, and we weren't really cautious of what we were disciplining ourselves to. We were like, oh, that's a process that worked for them. That makes sense. I'm going to do that. Discipline, 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 discipline. Still not seeing results. Okay, I'm still disciplined to it. We see this in the systems with like school and stuff like that. So many kids going to school and not graduating. Oh, it's obviously the kid, not the school system. Make it make sense. We weren't using discernment in the way that we were showing up because we weren't fully rooted in our own personal power and our own personal energy. And because of this, we were loyal to things that were actually here to break us down and make us feel weak. We were giving our loyalty to things that made us feel weak, thus creating more weakness. And in this age of Aquarius, what we're stepping into is this idea of not only is everything so much more clear because ether is activated in the air through the age of Aquarius, but because of the way that energy works, our discernment levels are going to go off the charts, and they already are. And that's why there are things like neurodivergency. It's not a mistake. It's not some disease. It's not a disability. It's actually a fucking superpower. Because you're so aware after being put through so many lifetimes of trauma and abuse. Your discernment is off the charts. You speak energy better than anybody. Why? Because the systems in your brain support it. Because your capacity is larger. Why? Because you've been through the shit. And that is why I think I really want to drive this home. You cannot do anything wrong. You cannot do anything bad. And anyone who tells you that you're doing something wrong or doing something bad is coming from a place of shame. And shame is a weak energy. You know what trumps shame in any fight? Forgiveness, acceptance, unconditional love, compassion. All of those energies are so much stronger than any shame, than any fear. And that's why when people make investments, when their desire and their anticipation is stronger, if their why is stronger than the fear, they'll always be successful. But if you let those voices of shame, if you let those voices of fear overcloud your judgment and create that brain fog around you, that's when you fall too. So in this age of Aquarius, we're being asked to step into this discernment power, and this is why I think it's really important that a lot of us stop smoking at this point in our lives, because when you're under the influence, and especially because Mary has been taken over by the recreational industry, so it's been commercialized, and now it's a lot of chemicals are being put in, crossbreeding, manipulation, etc., etc. You don't know the source of the plant. You're not aware of the nutrients going. There's no energetic exchange between you and the plant until you go to smoke it, and then that's just like overconsumption. I could go into a whole thing with that, but What we're being asked to is to step into this discernment power. Knowing when to conform and knowing when to rise above the energies we're being presented with. And the only time that I would advise that you conform to an energy that is being presented to you is if it feels good in your heart. If it feels good in your body. And like I said earlier, you can't fuck up. You can't go wrong. So if you realize at some point, oh, this doesn't feel good anymore, you just change your mind. You just pivot. You just move. That's it. It doesn't have to be this crazy, complex thing that we're made to believe. We don't have to go through all of this red tape. None of that is real. What's real is energy. What's real is your belief in yourself. What's real is your ability to know what's for you and what's not for you. And nobody can take that away from you as long as you're willing to stand in it and be persistent regardless of what the external world is telling you. Hey, you need to chill out. You really don't. You guys can do whatever the fuck you want. I don't care. But please don't fuck up the curtain, okay? Thank you. She said, okay. So cute. So here's your homework, and then I have a special invitation for you if you want to expand further into this work. I want you to go and I want you to see the way that your thoughts are manifesting in the physical. I want you to realize your control. I want you to realize your personal power. I want you to realize how the stories create the mental roadmap for your reality that take you on the journeys, that take you down the paths that you go down. You have a terrible perception of men. Why do you think every single fucking man that comes into your life is fucking terrible to you? I'll tell you, because I used to be that girl. I used to hate men, and every single man that came into my reality was shit. And you know what? That reaffirmed my belief that men were shit. When I started readjusting my beliefs about men, guess fucking what? Even the shittiest of men started to act like fucking kings. I kid you not. Like, people who would never do manly or king-like things started to show up for me in ways that were very king-like, because that's what I expected of the men in my reality. And they knew that if they wanted to be around me, which they knew it was an honor, they had to conform to my standards. And the only reason that they conformed to my standards is because it felt good for them in their hearts. And if a man is coming to you and treating you like shit because of your perception of men, and he is doing that out of not having any power, not being in tune with his body, that's your reflection. So I want you to go and I want you to see how your judgment of other people is actually you judging yourself. I want you to go and I want you to look in the mirror and I want you to look at all those ugly emotions. I want you to see them for what they are. Powerless in the face of love. That's your homework. And for those who would like to dive deeper into this work, this is literally what I teach my clients inside the To Infinity and Beyond membership mind. We go deep into esoteric, I don't know why I said it like that, I usually say esoteric knowledge and occult knowledge, understanding of the stars, understanding of the moon. We go into understanding your mind, understanding the belief systems within your mind, within your body, tapping into your emotional body, regulating to your own emotional guidance system, and standing up in your full, authentic, personal power so that no one can sway you, so that no one can belittle you, so that you can actually be the version of you that you came here to be and that you know you are allowed to be and meant to be in your heart. That is what I want for you. That is what I want for the collective. That is where I see us going as a collective as we move forward in this Aquarius age. We're coming into acceptance of all aspects of ourselves. And with that means that we need to start recognizing that we are not here by accident. So if you want to dive deeper into the cosmic origin stories, if you want to begin understanding yourself on a deeper level, I highly recommend checking out the To Infinity and Beyond membership mind. We're going to be doing a live rendition of this program soon, so stay tuned on my Instagram for details about that. Currently, I'm launching for June. We're going to start doing the Deliberately Creating You Micromind. So this is one of the courses that's inside the To Infinity and Beyond membership mind portal. And the reason that I'm doing it a la carte is because it's very transformational and impactful as is. And so I'm guiding 5 to 6 people through this interactive experience. There's 4 modules. We're going to have a group chat and 1 group call at the end. And basically it's just you uncovering all of these deep and dark emotions that you really don't want to face, you beginning to tap into your own body, coming out of the mind, stepping away from the frames of society and stepping into your own authentic energy signature so that you can activate this personal power. This comes with DNA activations. I do Reiki light language videos. There's tons of information. Every single time I watch these videos back that are in this portal, I learn something new about myself, about the world. Every single time I read the content that's in there, I learn something new. Like, this is timeless information that is going to help you to build a foundation for freedom in your life, in your emotional ability, in your ability to show up, in your ability to feel content in the way that you've moved through life in the past and the way that you intend to move through life in the future. It's also going to set you up for success in terms of actually having that plan, having the intention, having the end goal in mind, rather than trying to find certain ways to make yourself feel safe and stable. You're going to actually put your desire at the forefront and go after that goal wholeheartedly, rather than trying to get something to feel something, because you're no longer looking for the feelings, because you're able to give that to yourself, and that's the work of tapping into the body. So if this sounds like something that you want to tap into, you can hit me up on Instagram. You can also just purchase it under the digital resources tab on my website. And once you purchase it, you'll get access to the modules, and then we'll start with the group chat and the group style program in June. So that will just be if you have any questions, or if I'll be dropping in weekly prompts as well as we go through the month. So this is a very transformational experience. This is what helped me to shift after living outside of my body for 2.5 weeks. This was the course that I created for the version of me that was not rooted in her own power, that kept conforming to the projections of others, to the narratives of the past, to the ideas and stories that people had about her. And I created this for the person who really wants to step into their own sovereignty and personal power and stop people pleasing, stop confining to the outside world. So if you do opt for this option, your credit, if you enroll in Deliberately Creating You and then go on to do the membership mind, the To Infinity and Beyond membership mind, your purchase of Deliberately Creating You will be used as a credit for the membership mind. So that's just something to keep in mind as well. And I really just look forward to guiding as many people on this journey who are willing to embark. I needed to do that before my fucking computer dies. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode. It was such a pleasure to share my heart and soul with you. I look forward to seeing you on next month's episode, and drop any comments, any questions in my DMs, in the comment section below. Leave a review if you feel called, and I hope you have a marvelous day. Welcome to the age of Aquarius, baby. It's time to get your energy right. That did not go at all. But yeah, that's a wrap, guys. That was super heated. I need to do hot right now. Thanks for joining.